Hey guys, just touching base here with a video letting you know what's going on in the market. Did you make it through the 4th of July? Oh man, we had a great time. We're in Costa Mesa. As you can see, I was getting a little crazy with the fireworks. As long as you weren't down in San Diego Harbor waiting for that big display, that was a bit of a disappointment. But I hope you had a great time. This week, even more than most, go to the rate sheet. Rates are incredible. They've dipped just a little bit further, even past all-time lows. Once again, you go to MikeMunzing.com, go over to the rate sheet, print it out, take a look at those rates. They are fantastic. Take it with you to your open house. I always say that because it helps when the folks are there. They want to know how low these rates really are, and that way they can estimate how much they can afford, what that payment will be, and that really helps them get a comfort level of what they're looking for, and that helps you look even smarter so you can take them out and show them a property and sell them what they need. All right, great. Hey, this week, actually today, the employment numbers came out, 8.2%, but hey, I haven't had a ton of time to break that all down, so what I did is I bringing you a Wall Street Journal breakdown so you can see what they have to say about it.
8.2% unemployment rate, 80,000 payrolls, big implications for the 2012 election, big implications for the markets, big implications for the Federal Reserve. I think on every count here, you have to say to yourself, the Fed is potentially back in the game. Barack Obama is not having a good start to his July 4th weekend.
No, that's right. And, you know, I mean, 80,000 just isn't going to cut it for job growth.
Yeah.
What you might see in the market today, though, is people reacting to this idea that, geez, there's more of a chance of quantitative easing.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not as if, you know, I don't think we're going to see the market plunge on this number because in a very perverse way, bad news has become good.
Absolutely. And, you know, and it was funny the way the markets reacted yesterday to better news. We saw them selling off, and you know, on this idea that maybe the Fed wasn't going to do quantitative easing. But a headline number of 8.2%. The Fed wants to see progress on bringing unemployment down. We're not seeing progress. There's going to be a real discussion there, I think, at their July meeting about whether they do another round of bond buying.
Right.
We're getting more numbers right now from Phil Izzo in the newsroom. Let's go straight to Phil and dig into this unemployment report, which is going to dictate trading today. What do you got for us, Phil?
Hey, John, what we're seeing here is it's a disappointing report, obviously. We're seeing job growth in the slow range, below the type of level we need to bring the unemployment rate down quickly. But this is almost essentially a flat jobs report. We're just not seeing anyone hiring anywhere. Across all the industries, there's some cutbacks, but really the cutbacks aren't even that big. It's not like the government has been cutting back for months now, and they subtracted about 4,000 jobs, not that much. It's basically an economy in a holding pattern.
How about revisions? Do we have revisions to June, revisions to May?
They're a bit of a mixed bag. They were revised up. April's number was revised up slightly, just about 8,000 jobs, and May's was revised down.
Right.
So again, this flat picture where things are virtually, they're in this weird holding pattern where no one is like jumping in to start hiring in. There are some some little positives in here. The wages were up a little bit, hours work were up a little bit, temporary hires were up a little bit. All those things say that there might be some demand building in there. But at this point, no one's hiring full-time workers.
So we now have 3 or 4 months, I don't know if you were able to pick this apart, of job growth below the 100,000 threshold. Is that...
That's correct. 3 months below 100,000, which is, as we said, really not fast enough to bring the unemployment force.
Phil, we want you to go back and dig deeper into these numbers. In the meantime, we're going to go to David Wessel in Washington to talk about the policy implications of this report and the political implications. David, I think you've heard the numbers. What's your take on what does this mean for Barack Obama? What does this mean for the Federal Reserve?
It's bad for Barack Obama. It's bad for the American worker. And it puts, as you said earlier, a lot of pressure on the Federal Reserve to do more. Look, we had, even after the revision, 68,000 jobs in April added, 77,000 jobs in May, now 80,000 jobs in June. At some point, you can't say this month is a fluke. What Phil describes is true. The U.S. economy is kind of treading water. But treading water at 8.2% unemployment is bad. I don't think the numbers themselves are what determines how Barack Obama does, but the numbers are a reflection of what people are actually seeing out there, which is it's hard to get a job.
You know, this is the time of year when people are starting to form their opinions going into November about how the economy is doing. You can't, I think, walk away from a report and from a sense right now that this economy is not much stronger than it was when Barack Obama took office.
Well, as you know better than I, John, we've had our ups and downs, and it's not much better than it was than when Mr. Obama took office, but we've had some, which we've been growing. We're not losing jobs. So you can predict what the argument will be. He'll say it would have been worse if not for me, and Romney will say it would have been better if I had been president, and they'll duke it out. But the bottom line is the economy is a huge obstacle to Barack Obama's reelection. If he gets reelected, it'll be in spite of the economy because he turns out to be a better candidate than Mitt Romney, or because he can keep changing the topic to immigration, gay marriage, foreign policy, and other things where he has a stronger argument to make.
All right, and David, you've been watching the Federal Reserve for a long time. Has Ben Bernanke's patience run out? Is he ready to pull the trigger on QE? What do you think?
Well, as you and I know, it's hard to predict what the Fed is going to do at any one meeting. But the fact that the economy is not performing as well as they had hoped, the fact that unemployment is not coming down, certainly increases the chances substantially that they will take further action, if not at their meeting at the end of July rather, than sometime this fall. The economy is not delivering. Fiscal policy is not going to come to the rescue. Mr. Bernanke's view is that his mandate is to get unemployment down and keep prices stable. Inflation has been running below their target. It seems to all point in one direction, more QE from the Fed.
Right, David. I think we're going to be talking about that story all day. Let's go back to Phil. He's been digging deeper into the numbers. What do you have for us, Phil?
Hi, John. There's another sort of disappointing aspect to the report as well. The U6, which is the unemployment rate, what we call the broader unemployment rate. It includes people who are working part-time but want full-time work, and discouraged workers, people who we consider marginally attached to the labor force. Even though the overall rate at 8.2 stayed the same, that broader U6 rate jumped up a little bit to 14.9%. And a big part of that was these part-time workers who want full-time work.
Right, and Phil, that's a very big political point that's going to come up in the campaign, and the Romney people are going to constantly be looking at this U6 number. How about manufacturing? That's been one of the bright spots for the economy. Did we add jobs in the manufacturing sector last month?
We did add jobs, but just barely. I think it was around 11,000. Construction was absolutely flat. We didn't add or lose any jobs. Really, all the job growth we did see, which was weak enough, was all in the service sector. Manufacturing and goods producing in general was relatively weak, less than 20,000 jobs.
And what's the
change.
public-private breakdown? How much of the weakness that we're seeing was coming out of government?
Yeah, government subtracted jobs again, as they have for months and months and months now, but they didn't really subtract all that much. They only took about 4,000 jobs away from the overall picture. So while private is definitely doing better, it's the only place where there is job growth. At least the job losses we're seeing in the government sector aren't quite as bad as they've been in the past.
Okay, hopefully that was informative. Those guys at Wall Street Journal know way more than I do about the deep nuance and the history of the numbers. I handle loans. I do loans for you guys. I do loans for your buyers. That's what I do. I am not a pure economist, so I don't quite know what that's going to mean for employment, so I want to bring that to you. We're heading into a great weekend. Be sure and send folks over to my online application to get them approved. They can call me. You can call me at 949-689-5626. Got my cell phone with me. I'll be working all weekend. I've been out here about 28 years. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to working with your buyers. Rates are amazing. Housing prices have stabilized, but the affordability is fantastic. Let's work together. All right. Well, as I always say, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless this amazing country we live in. It's an exciting year. Let's work together again, and I'll look forward to your call. Bye-bye.
Money.